Hi everyone, this is the second game of me against Noise using my next design Power Shutdown Recursion deck. For game 1, you can check my older videos. So, without further ado, let's begin this game. But do remember that we both know each other's deck somewhat because we've played against each other before in the first game. So, keep that in mind. So he kind of knows what to expect, and I kind of know what kind of breakers he'll be using. Alright, so here I tried to rush out Adonis. I could do rush out the Profiteering, but from what I learned last game, that's a very stupid thing to do. So instead, I attempt to score to get the Adonis going quickly. Now, because I need to protect my Adonis with the Chimera, unfortunately, this means that I cannot afford to res either of R&D or HQ Ice. Notice this weakness of Next Design. This is a gaping, huge weakness for Next Design because now, unfortunately, I couldn't protect my HQ and R&D, and as a result, he stole a Project Wotan and could have stolen an ABT from HQ as well if I was unlucky with his access. Secondly, look at what he just did. He just threw a casual Account Siphon on my HQ. I'm forced to res the Rotor Turret, which completely drained all my money. So the Account Siphon did its work. It left me at 0 credits. This allows him to freely trash the Adonis campaign, and now, even though he's not credits himself, I'm now in the worst situation possible that you can imagine. I have no economy going for me, and I'm on 0 credits, and my R&D is completely porous. If he was wise, he would run this turn on R&D. Anyway, so now I'm looking very bad. What can I do? I'll just take 3 credits. There isn't even any point in resing the Adonis, simply because... installing the Adonis, because I can't even res it the next turn. So, just look at how terrible things are going for me. And now, I cannot res the next silver, because that will put me back at 0 credits. And this is why I much rather play Engineering the Future. ETF allows me to gain 3 credits in a turn while still installing something in some server, like protecting archives with that Viper. That I would have done if I was Engineering the Future. But now I'm forced to click for credits just so that I can use my hedge fund. Why am I so desperate to use my hedge fund? Because Data Leak Reversal and Joshua B. Yes, if this deck looks any familiar to you, it is the Account Siphon Recursion Anarch build, and that is a very deadly archetype indeed. So thankfully his milling did not reap anything, and as a result I'm able to trash both of his resources. So that's a huge victory for me, because now he's low on credits and does not have a successful data leak, which means that he's still stuck on 3 agenda points. Now 4 points that he scored my Profiteering, and he's threatening to data leak once again next turn. Of course, I cannot stop him from going to R&D once again because I'm playing Next Design. I do not have the economy needed to do what I want to do, which is to res Ice, which is so important against the likes of such aggressive runners. And aggressive runners are some of the most powerful runners nowadays, so not being prepared for aggressive criminals or anarchs packing Account Siphon, you are going to have a very, very tough time. And this is what exactly is happening to me now, all because I'm playing Next Design. You could argue that I'm misplaying it, but honestly, how are you going to get so many credits in your early turns? And how are you going to deal with Account Siphon? You know, so you pretty much, it's looking very grim for me now, but at least I have all 3 servers secured, so now I'm forcing him to bring out a breaker. Notice that I cannot even perform what my deck is supposed to do, which is Power Shutdown Recursion, simply because I don't have any Power Shutdowns, and and he doesn't have a rig for me to Power Shutdown in the first place. He's completely steamrolling me without a rig. He has 4 points up, and it's technically a match point because if he accesses the other Project Wotan in my deck, it is game. Alright, I'm not exactly sure what I did there with the archive memories. I forgot what exactly I brought back, but notice that I'm still very low on credits, so there isn't much I can res. on the board. He runs my server. Oh, sorry, I know I did. I archive memories to Jackson Howard so that I can reshuffle in a couple of key agendas. What I'm very worried about him is him getting through the Mother Goddess, because now the Mother Goddess is both a sentry and a barrier. So if he gets through it, he'll see the Vitruvius and Wotan in archives, which is game over for me. So I desperately needed to spend one archive memories to retrieve the Jackson Howard that he milled earlier on. Now my entire game is banking. Now I realize that there's no way I'm going to get my credit levels up because he has Account Siphon and my economy is just way too weak to support the ice that I'm trying to throw out. I'm playing lots of ice as next design, but I don't have the economy to support it. So now I'm forced to go for an alternate game plan, which is to score lots of accelerated beta tests, because these will provide me not only free money to rest ice, but also free clicks to install these ice without any install cost at all. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. So even though I'm very poor on credits, at least I'm able to keep him out of my server simply by triggering accelerated beta tests. Of course, this comes at the cost of milling cards, which is unfortunate, but at least he cannot get into archives just yet. However, as you can see, right, one of the cards that he milled with the imp, the installation of the virus, is a Project Wotan, and that's quite bad. Once again, I need to find a way to reshuffle that Wotan back to R&D. And I'm slowly but surely getting decked. If he installs another Data Leak Reversal, or installs more viruses, I could be in huge risk of getting decked myself. So that is something for me, that is something that's plaguing my mind. What can you do? It's noise that I'm playing against. Alright, so I'm baiting him to running the remote. Once again, you look, I have 3 credits to my name. I can't really do much. So I'm just right now baiting him to run. So he does make a run, and he does one R&D. And scores a Vitruvius to put him squarely on match point, 6 agenda points. And I begin counting out my agendas. I know I have 10 agendas in my deck. 5 of them are in the score piles. I have 3 in my hand, and there's a Project Wotan sitting in archives. And I just draw the last agenda in my R&D. This is where it's crucial, because I'm quite lucky to draw the last agenda, because now I actually know that there's nothing in R&D. So I can safely secure HQ with the Swordsman while leaving R&D open. If he chooses to run R&D, it'll be a very futile effort because there are no agendas in there, or I know that for a fact. And this is precisely what he does. He runs through R&D, wasting a lot of time. He's clicking through the Eli. So he's spending basically his entire turn getting through R&D, and he won't see anything. However, I'm still worried about getting decked out because he is running an imp. So every run he makes, he is reducing the number of cards in R&D by 1. And he does so again. Again, I'm not worried about agendas, but I'm worried that I'm going to get decked very soon. Thankfully, he's stretching most of my ice, so I don't need too many ice right now. Now I'm looking to score either the ABT or the profiteering, both of which will give me a significant lead. I mean, it would definitely help me big time, because I'm suffering both in terms of credits and in terms of protection with ice right now. But scoring either of these agendas is not easy. However, there's something that's working in my favor. In the last remote server on the left, the ice on my servers looks like a pyramid. That's pretty cool. Anyway, the last ice that's there is a Wraparound. And just like last game, he doesn't have a barrier breaker to help him get through. So it will cost him 8 credits to get through with the Crypsis. But knowing his deck, I'm still worried about that Stim hack. So my goal right now is to solidify my credit lead and get a couple more pieces of ice on the Wraparound so that I can start scoring an agenda. I told myself that one big mistake I made here was that I installed the Wraparound in a new server instead of the existing remote. Installing it in the existing remote would be way better. But now it's not the time to regret. I find the next bronze, and that's going on the Wraparound as well. So this puts the server outside of Stim hack range. And since he's tagged and I have a closed accounts, I'm starting to get an idea of what I can do to score the next agenda. Thankfully, he hasn't run on HQ yet. He somehow doesn't suspect that all my agendas are cooped up in HQ. Alright. I count the credits. It takes 8 credits to break the wraparound with Crypsis, and another 3 credits, I believe. 1, 2. 3 credits to break next bronze, because Mother Goddess is res. It counts as the next ice. So I decide to close his accounts and install the profiteering and score it next turn. Now I will keep him out by resing the wraparound. So he can only gain credits. Right now there's nothing he can do about it. So I will score the profiteering and take all the bad pub in the world. This is a risky move once again, because giving him bad pub is a very bad idea, as evidenced by my first game. But right now, I really need the money, and the extra burst of credit is exactly what I need to allow me to score the last agenda to bring me to victory. Now, he knights my Mother Goddess and attempts a run on Archives, I believe, but doesn't find anything because I shuffled my agendas in with Jackson Howard earlier. I still have another Jackson Howard to go in my hand, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. Now, the only thing I need to worry about is icing up the wraparound server to a point where there's no way he will be able to enter at all. His economy is dirt poor. He has no economy cards at all. His only form of economy is Account Siphon, and me successfully blocking him out of HQ finally means that there is no way he is going to be able to get enough credits to do anything to me. Now, he is not tempted into running the wraparound server, which I'm quite surprised by, because that could very well be a 3-2 agenda. But instead, I install the Adonis for fun, hopefully luring him into a run there, a futile run there, and then installing the Viper. So now the remote server is very, very secure. Wraparound, next bronze, and Viper, that it should be more than taxing enough to keep him out. So I should be able to score my agenda next turn. Yes, this is where the extra credits come in handy, because to res the Viper and next bronze takes 5 credits. Credits that I wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. Alright, so he attempts to run my Adonis server, thinking that it's an agenda. Here I decide to res the ice because I have the money to, but more importantly, I'm here to drain his Crypsis virus tokens. Now that he's drained to 0 tokens, it puts him in a very weak board state. I talked a lot about the runners creating scoring windows for the corps by leaving themselves at very low credits or without any breakers on the board, and this is exactly what he does. He has 9 credits, but he has no Crypsis tokens. So all I need to do is to bring back my close accounts, reset him to 0, reshuffle Jackson Howard, rather getting rid of him so that there will actually be space to install an agenda. Now he's on 0 credits, he has 0 Crypsis tokens. Even if he has a Steam Hack in hand, he cannot get through my server. In fact, the only way for him to win right now is to run R&D and hope that he top decks the Project Wotan that is still within R&D. He doesn't know that though. He knows that I'm about to win, but he doesn't know that he doesn't know how exactly he's supposed to win. He cannot win by running my remote, and he cannot win by running into HQ or Archives. There are no agendas in Archives, and HQ is completely rock solid, at least against his Crypsis. So he's pretty much going to lose if he doesn't break through the Eli. And he won't break through because I have a next silver guarding R&D. So he's pretty screwed basically. A timely Steam Hack might save him, but that's about it. So now we wait to see what he does. Alright, he loads Crypsis and he Steam Hacks into the wrong server. He Steam Hacks right into my Swordsman, and my Swordsman just kills off his only breaker and seals off his fate. So I think, yep, that is game for him. This Swordsman splash MVP of the game, along with the wraparound on that remote, because there was no way he was going to penetrate through either one of them with just a Crypsis, lone Crypsis on the table. So Crypsis is immune to Power Shutdown, but I have so many ways to deal with his Crypsis, and because of that, I managed to win this game. But still, that was a very harrowing victory for me. He milled so many cards into archives, he accessed R&D so many times, I had to let him through so many times, and his early Account Siphon just crippled me like no tomorrow. I strongly feel that Nick's design is the wrong choice of ID for this deck, because I do not actually need that many pieces of ice. Towards the later half of the game, most of the ice that I was drawing were useless. In fact, I was more than happy for him to trash them with his virus milling so that I can actually see important cards like economy, like archive memories, like agendas, so that he wouldn't be able to get those agendas because HQ was a safer server. The only ice that were of use to me towards the mid-late game were Swordsman and Wraparounds, both of which I splashed influence for. So with the extra influence from Engineering the Future, playing Engineering the Future just makes so much more sense. And especially in this current metagame with Account Siphon running so rampant, you have to have a recovery plan for Account Siphon, and HB ETF does the best job at it, hands down. I'm thinking of swapping the Profiteerings for Gila Hands. The Profiteering this game did a lot of work because I scored it as the second to last agenda. So the bad part had very limited use. I think that's the way Profiteering should be played, now that I look at it, but I still think Gila Hands would be better because it's such good Siphon recovery. Imagine, after a Siphon, after you're relegated to 0 credits, you click Gila and you install something. Now you have 4 credits and you have just improved your defenses because you probably installed a piece of ice. With all that said, it was a fun experiment with Nick's design. Unfortunately, I couldn't make this janky ID work. It just doesn't fit my theme of Power Shutdown. But I like the ideas that my friend proposed, the use of my influence in Engineering the Future instead of 3 shots, which never really panned out for me. I'll be trying to experiment with those in future videos. But for now, thanks for watching and have a happy day with net running.